Hi there, warm welcome. You're watching Blueprint Explosive Exclusive and I'm Meghna Deka. Did cyber cheats scam you? How can you possibly become scam-proof if you are on the target of cybercrime? Well, that's exactly what we are going to be discussing over the next 20 minutes when we invite you, the viewers, to directly connect with us. Why are we discussing this today? Because this comes in, remember, after even the Prime Minister yesterday warned against the digital arrest scam. That is the latest scam, the digital arrest scam. The police have revealed that some staggering numbers are now coming to light, where scamsters have targeted over 600 people in Delhi NCR alone, and they have extorted 400 crore rupees from innocent victims. According to the Ministry of Home Affairs, digital arrests have been emerging as a worrying method of trapping innocent individuals. In fact, let's tell you how the scam works. In digital arrests, victims would get a call with the caller claiming that there is a parcel in their name. Sometimes the scamsters pose as either the police, the CBI or ED officials or some agency officials, and they make up fake cases to extort money from unsuspecting people. The victims are told their names, their bank account details have been misused for terror activities, illegal activities, drug activities, money laundering, something like that, something serious. Now, the victims are then asked to visit a video call police. It's the fraudsters who then dress up as the police or some agency, be it the CBI or the ED. They dress up as police officials or agency officials and then go to great lengths to create a deep fake of a police station atmosphere around them. They do video calls with that. Then they gather PAN account, the Aadhaar details, the bank details, all possible details of the victim to scam them of their money. In fact, the Prime Minister just yesterday, he had spoken about the issue in his latest Mann Ki Baat. He highlighted how the ongoing scams of online fraud has affected citizens across the country, especially the senior citizens. He has said that fraudsters prey on victims posing as officials of the RBI or the police or some other agency. In fact, he's also detailed how frauds occur step by step. He spoke on digital arrest, a rising trend which is now coming up to con victims. He also had a piece of advice to tackle such swindlers. Stop, think, and then take action. Well, Modi also assured that government agencies are going to be putting a curb on the menace of online scams. Watch this.
डिजिटल अरेस्ट के फ्रॉड में फोन करने वाले कभी पुलिस, कभी सीबीआई, कभी नारकोटिक्स, कभी आरबीआई, ऐसे भांति भांति के लेबल लगाकर बनावटी अधिकारी बनकर बात करते हैं। ये 3 चरण है, रुको, सोचो, एक्शन लो। कॉल आते ही रुको, घबराए नहीं, शांत रहे, जल्दबाजी में कोई कदम न उठाएं, संभव हो तो स्क्रीनशॉट लें और रिकॉर्डिंग जरूर करें। कोई भी सरकारी एजेंसी फोन पर ऐसे धमकी नहीं देती। डिजिटल अरेस्ट के नाम पर जो फरेब चल रहा है, उससे निपटने के लिए तमाम जांच एजेंसियां राज्य सरकारों के साथ मिलकर काम कर रही है।
In fact, just recently, a Tamil Nadu resident was duped by fraudsters who posed as representatives of the popular TV show KBC. In fact, the victim was allegedly informed that he had won a prize of 25 lakh rupees and that had to increase to 5.6 crore rupees. Similarly, another individual claimed to represent the game show Kolkata reportedly told victim that he had won 75 lakh rupees and that the prize money had now been increased from 2.75 crore rupees in the latest. And you also had a 82-year-old businessman who was digitally arrested for 2 days and 2 crore rupees was scammed from him, which the caller claimed that his ID was used for smuggling and the consignment was seized at customs. This is what the police are saying.
कुछ समय पूर्व साइबर अपराधियों द्वारा एक विक्टिम को डिजिटली अरेस्ट करते हुए उसके साथ साइबर धोखाधड़ी की गई थी। प्रकरण साइबर क्राइम पुलिस स्टेशन के संज्ञान में आते ही इसमें अभियोग पंजीकृत करते हुए इस्तेमाल हुए सभी खातों को फ्रीज करवाकर एक अभियुक्त की गिरफ्तारी पुलिस द्वारा की गई थी। अब इस प्रकरण में एक और अभियुक्त की गिरफ्तारी की गई है तथा अग्रिम विधिक कार्रवाई जारी है।
Well, we are going to be going across to our panelists, our experts who can explain to us what really needs to be done. We have also opened our phone lines. We're flashing those at the bottom of your screens. We will be joined by N.S. Napinai, a senior advocate of the Supreme Court, also the founder of Cyber Sathi. Lloyd Matthias is also joining us, a technology analyst. But before I come to you, let me go across to some of our callers and take their questions. We have Prakash Raghu, who's joining us, joining us from Chennai. Go ahead. Prakash, what would you like to ask?
One, I think we must make some amendments to the existing cyber laws. And number two, I don't think we must be confining this only to the cities. I think it must be taken down to the rural level. And I think the Prime Minister's Man Ki Baat may reach the rural population who are more at risk to this.
You're absolutely right. It shouldn't be restricted to fighting cybercrime only in urban but also rural areas. You've also raised an important question when it comes to the cyber laws. Let me, however, go across to our next viewer joining us today, S. Balakrishnam, who is calling us from Karnataka. Go ahead, Mr. Balakrishnam.
Yes, madam. I'm S. Balakrishnam from Bhadravati, Karnataka.
Yes.
Last Monday on 21st by 9:30 a.m. I got a call from somebody stating that there is a call from Department of Telecommunication, stating that my phone number will be blocked within 2 hours if I don't respond to that number. Immediately they asked me, they were talking like a big officer of a government, and they connected me to one sub-inspector of Ambedkar Nagar police station.
Okay.
And he started saying that you should stay at home, don't go out. Your other number is somebody has cracked, and they have opened account in Canara Bank in New Delhi, and they are doing all bad business to the government, to the country, and you are also involved. And they said, don't go. Every 2.5 hours you should be calling me. Should not go out. Should not talk to your wife. Should not talk to any member of your family.
Oh, gosh.
You should be alone and all those things. Then immediately I told him, please give me, I'm going to toilet. Give me about 15 minutes time and I will come back. Then keeping my phone down, I went to my bank and I blocked all my SB account and other accounts.
That's a very good move. Thank you so much, Mr. Balakrishnan, for outlining to us exactly how there was a similar scam which they tried pulling on you, but you took quick, swift steps and informed your bank and then checked it out. Thank you so much for joining us with your story. We also have one of our viewers, Manobendu Mukhopadhyay, who's joining us from Kolkata. What would you like to say?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My advice is one should never click suspicious link over message. Number two, protect your email account. Use strong password. Secure your computer with antivirus. Use app to block scam call and to be alert to phishing call. Must block and report scam number.
Right.
Not give out personal information.
Very good advice. Very good advice coming in from one of our viewers calling us from Kolkata. Thank you so much, Manobendu, for joining us. Jimmy Deepak is also joining us from Mysuru, one of our viewers. Go ahead, Jimmy.
No, actually, I have got my email account and all those things. Normally, I don't open any of my email account unless until I know that the person is known. And next is I have just made a lot of settings in my WhatsApp also so that unknown people cannot call me or cannot do anything like that. But unfortunately, what happens is senior citizens cannot afford expensive mobile phones to have video recording and all those things. So in that process, what really happens is it becomes very difficult to explain to the senior citizens actually.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us, Jimmy. And those are the kind of problems that our viewers themselves have been facing. I'm going across to N.S. Napinai, who's joining us, senior advocate. One of the things which has been raised by one of our viewers is that cyber laws seem to be very vague and ambiguous. What needs to be done here onwards? The Prime Minister says that the guilty will be punished, but how will they tighten the cyber crime noose around them?
See, the first thing is everybody who may have fallen victim needs to understand is there is no such thing as cyber law separately. It forms part of either a special law, the Information Technology Act, or now also have cyber crime provisions under the new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. So, for instance, these financial frauds which were rampant already were taken note of, and two separate provisions have been included. One under the caption of organized crime, and the second under the caption of petty organized crime.
Okay.
So when you look at the modus that has been lined out, you will see that you will be able to cover these kind of scams either under organized crime or under also 66C and D of Information Technology Act, which talk about identity theft and cheating by impersonation.
Right.
So you have provisions. The frauds are frauds still. Only the methodology of committing the frauds change. So if you look at the old types of cybercrimes and what is happening today, the modus is very simple. Earlier, they relied on greed, and now they are relying on fear. So whenever you see something on a letterhead which says police, CBI, ED, etc., and a common man does not know how a law enforcement works, and they are scared. It is not like they have committed a wrong. Just because they got scared does not mean it's a guilty mind. It just means that they do not understand the situation and they buckle down to pressure. There was one case which was very sad. I was listening to one of the persons who talked about how he somehow managed to make this excuse about a toilet break and moved out. In a similar case, where unfortunately too much time had passed and the police could not block the money that had already moved out of the banking channels, followed a similar modus where the husband was threatened and he was asked to lock himself inside a room, and then the video call happens. His wife is locked outside and he is not allowed to take anybody's help. So he makes one transfer, but the wife was very sharp and she also was fearful for her husband's health. These are both senior citizens.
Right.
So then she calls the police and then they tell her, these are all scams. You somehow contact your husband and ask him to stop these calls immediately and to come out of the room. So she slips a paper under the door and luckily sees it, and then he extricates himself. So the damage was minimized, but the money that went, they could not recover.
They could not be recovered. In fact, there are so many cyber crimes which are being reported. Is it even possible for the police to look into each and every one of them, Lloyd Matthias? Because if you're looking at the stats, in 2022, there were 9.66 lakh complaints. This number in 2023 went up from 9 lakh to 15.5 lakhs. Now, only between January to April this year alone, in 4 short months, there were 7.4 lakh such complaints. MHA says that to a tune of 120 crore rupees have been defrauded by cyber cheats. Why has there been a sudden rise? Any reason behind that?
Thank you, Meghna. I'm glad you're taking up this issue. To my mind, just two parts. I think the first one, one has to be cognizant of is the spread of the internet has been rampant. We're about 850 million internet users. And today people use their phones to conduct a lot more than business. Clearly, going from this, cyber criminals have really got into the act and specifically targeted, shall we say, older people. Right? So this whole issue about in terms of digital arrest has become serious. But I think the issue has been gradually growing over time. And while the numbers of 7.5 lakh in the 4 months of this year are not surprising at all. I think what needs to happen is two. One is, as the advocate did mention, I think we need a big tightening up of cybersecurity laws and much stronger implementation. Today, the reality is a lot of people who perpetuate these crimes get away lightly. And I think the biggest onus, to my mind, on the regulatory aspect should come to TRAI and the Department of Telecom. Because if you are insisting that every person who has a telecom connection or every call center has to provide some kind of identity documentation, there has to be better traceability. The reality is today, despite whatever filters you put in, despite do not disturb, people still get a lot of unwarranted calls.
Absolutely.
And older people tend to fall victim to this, right? So when someone's calling you saying, I'm calling you from Try, and your telephone is going to be disconnected in 2 hours, most people would stay back to listen because your first reaction is fear, right? And they are playing aggressively on fear. And this issue has really gone rampant. So to my mind, I look at it, I think one is we really need a kind of national task force. 2, I think we need to make examples of cyber criminals. I think in terms of the penal mechanisms, they cannot be very light. Now it has to be as severe. It's no longer a white-collar crime. It can derail a person's life. And
you're absolutely right. There needs to be a fight back, but it needs to be a coordinated strike back amongst departments and at the national level as well to ensure that it is effective and it is implemented. Not just about making laws, but making these laws implementable and effective as well is going to be the biggest question. And of course, till then, a good advice from our cyber experts to everyone: beware, be careful, call out and ask for help. That is something which is likely to keep you safe. Thank you so much for joining us, N.S. Napinai, as well as Lloyd Matthias, as well as all the viewers who've been calling in. I wish I could have taken more of your calls, which are still coming in. But this is going to be one of our top focus stories to keep you cyber safe and scam proof.